waiting for Facebook to see it. There it goes. There we go. So Facebook should be good. I'm gonna try to set this up, the chat room. Yeah.
What's up, everybody joining in? We're just getting everything set up. Welcome back. It's been a minute. I miss you guys. It's time to talk. It's time to rap. Hope everybody is being well.
They said where you been.
Whew, let's see here. I can read you guys' comments. Welcome in, everybody. Peace, peace. Hello, hello. Want to give everybody a moment to come in. While you're doing it, I want to thank you all for helping us go ahead and replace this laptop and get this show back on the road. You guys are the best. Thank you all who has donated throughout all the last year and helped to keep the show going up until this point. But hey, it's a new year, right? We are to believe. Let's kick it off right. Lisa, how you doing? What's going on with you? Audrey, I see you. Chris, what's up? Nathaniel, peace, bro. Might want to go check and put it on see first, Nathaniel. Sometimes Facebook does that. Just got to go reset that. Thank you very much already, Bobby. Hot. It was hot. What's up, Eddie? I see you, brother. Rashid, what's going on? Hello, Jessica.
It's making like
Corey,
a black.
What?
It's making a black window for the chat. I'm trying to get the chat to show, but it's just a black box. Hang on.
Eden, how are you? I can see it on the side. It's just not.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the broadcast for later.
Corey, Youssef, Frankie, I see you guys. What's up with y'all? Whitney, how you doing? Hey, listen, while you guys coming in, I want you to keep in mind that February the 9th and 10th, I will be in Irving, Texas. Keep that in mind. Irving, Texas. They say everything is bigger in Texas, right? So let's do it big. I want y'all to come out and let's have an amazing, amazing time. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. My favorite is, of course, going to be religious self-defense. We're going to talk about how to respond to people when they come at you with all of this stuff. Trust me, I got so much for you. We're going to talk about what exactly do we need to replace religion with. We're going to talk about how exactly do you come out to your family about not believing anymore. And of course, how to move on forward without religion.
Hmm.
You having problems with it, brother?
I think I have to relaunch it to give it a chance. Well, not relaunch the stream.
Okay.
I'll be gone for a second, and the chat will be gone for a second.
Can they hear you?
So bear with. Yeah, they can hear me.
Okay, cool.
For now. All right. So yeah, the stream will keep going. We can just talk about like updates. The chat will come back.
All right, sure.
I'll come back.
Some of you guys have asked where I have been. Number one, of course, if you don't know, we had a malfunction with some of our equipment, so we had to replace that. But other than that, man, I had like a little cold the last few weeks or the last week or so. Voice was gone, everything. So you can hear that. I'm just getting over that. So, but it's time to move on like nothing ever happened. I hope everybody's ready to discuss. I hope everybody's ready to comment because we just want to talk about some of the things that's been going on throughout the past weeks, of course, since I haven't been going live. So I obviously see what I have missed. It's a lot going on between, Dr. Umar and Tariq Nasheed.
Because we just
so
want to talk
speak
about
to
some
a
of
lot
the
that
things
too.
that's been going on throughout the past weeks, of course, since I haven't been going live.
I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you fine?
You're good. Thanks, Mr. Relly Row. 20? Yeah, Mr. Relly Row. Okay, it's fixed. Hang on, guys. I'm making it look pretty.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Really Well. See you. So again, guys, we obviously see what's been going on throughout this situation with Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar, and some of the other surrounding that situation. But I want to talk to you guys about some other things. All right, so we obviously see this is going on. I'm sitting here watching it. Obviously, how can you miss it? What I'm noticing though is a lot of us saying that there's problems now with the conscious community and things like that. So if there are problems with the conscious community, we're going to talk about them tonight and find out exactly what they are, and if there are problems, how do we fix them? Right? How do we move forward? Thank you, Candy. I'm glad to be back. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. Yes, Eden, I see. Candy, I am feeling a little bit better. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it's when you go to sleep at night, that's when it's the worst. But throughout the day, it's not so bad. Trying to give everybody time to come on.
This thing's so fun. So it's updating in here. Is it updating for you over here? Like on the right?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, it hasn't. Well, let's see here.
Thank last message from
Yeah.
Candy.
Okay. Yep. That's it. That's
So it updates in here.
Okay. So can it update out here? Or can we just make the screen
Big.
big?
Oh, that's not the issue. The issue is the chat's not updating. Hang on.
Okay.
We got a new laptop, so I'm trying to make this work, guys. My apologies. It did have all the updates, right? When you first set it up.
Yeah, it went through all of them. Let's see. On the screen though, it was showing more than what the sidebar was showing, as if the it was just the outside one. Okay, now it's starting to go up now.
Okay, so
Thank you, MP friend. Glad to be back. I see some of you guys saying, Happy New Year, and that's all fine and well. I want to ask you guys though about the new year. Simple question: how did it feel? The new year, that is. Coming into the new year, brand new year. Um, Great opportunity to wash away last year, right? Make this year better. Start it off with a bang. Readjust your goals. Get in shape. Change your diet. Cut off negative energy, right? This is all the things that we decided to do with the new year. But how did it feel? I just want to wait and just you guys to comment for me. How exactly did it feel going from, New Year's Eve, of course, the last day of December, 2017, into the next year? All right, how did it feel? Candy said just another day. The same. Okay, the same as 2017. Okay. Well, the way I want to hear as many as I can. I hear you, King Henry. To be honest, we don't know what year we're in. Okay. Jessica said she felt silky, shiny, and new. Not okay. Didn't notice any difference. Didn't feel like anything. The same. Okay. What's up, Black Seed? Feels like now. Same. Okay. Not the same. Okay. Not this time. It's still winter. Okay.
Shondell, the voice. He said, I'm
Right.
old.
Illuminated one. 15,104 if you go back to the earliest date of the calendar kept. But again, the Earth is billions of years old, right? So we can go back to the earliest dates kept, but it's in terms of knowing where we are, we just don't. But I asked that question because, before you guys were conscious and all woke, right? When the new year came around, we can honestly admit to actually feeling renewed, right? Feeling like I'm talking about relieved. The last year was over and excited to start a new year, right? It's excited to create a new us, to be a different person. And in your mind, you literally hit a reset button and feel regenerated. But why is that? And my whole point is that, it's mental. There was no new year just as much as there is not a such thing as a Tuesday in reality. You see what I'm saying? These are things that we call these things. So they shouldn't actually make us feel some type of way because we believe that a year is all of a sudden new, right? And if this is the case, because we've seen this coming, people always post about what they're going to do with the new year, who they're going to cut off, and which is great if you're talking about making yourself better. But why the new year? The truth is, if you want to change, you will change at the moment you feel that you need to change. A quote: if you can change your mind, you are healed. You are healed when you change your mind. If you think about this, take me for instance. I was a meat eater, right? I was about 46 pounds heavier. My son had asthma real bad. We go vegan around 5-6 months ago. All of a sudden, I've lost all this weight. My son doesn't deal with asthma anymore. At least I haven't saw any instance where he deals with asthma problems anymore. And of course, he seems to be healed, right? But it wasn't just because he changed his diet or I changed his diet. It's because I changed my mind. You see, so whenever you change your mind, that's when the healing begins. But if you're going to keep on, I guess, attaching yourself and attaching your identity to ideas and thoughts and traditions, you'll be forever stuck in a loop, is what is my point. So what I want to talk about today is, obviously we're not in a new year, but hey, why not start today doing things differently when it comes to our communities, right? And associating ourselves with certain communities. We have to come away from that, because just like there's no such thing as a new year, especially in terms of a few days ago, just like there's no such thing as a Wednesday, a Friday, there is no such thing as a conscious community. Josh and myself was talking the other day about what exactly is a community. And we came to a conclusion that a community is made up of many individuals. But without those individuals, you would not have a community. So you cannot have a community without individuals. You see, it's impossible. It's just a word. You have to have the people in order to have the party, right? So when you're looking at it in that way, what exactly is a conscious community? It's a group of individuals associating themselves with being conscious. The problem with this is this: if you associate yourself with being conscious, you may attach your identity to it. And if you do that, you may say things like, they're messing up the conscious community, you see, and you may create this idea that some individuals, based on their actions or how they respond to certain things, may mess up the Black or the conscious community. What I wanted to get us to do was to grow away from that and understand that an individual's actions is just that. Now, yes, if you throw a rock in the water, right, it's going to leave a ripple. It's going to make a ripple effect. So I'm not saying that a person's actions does not affect others, but I noticed something the other day. Someone was talking about the Dr. Umar Tariq Nasheed instance, and they were saying, you got Christians arguing with Christians, Muslims arguing with Muslims, Christians arguing with Hebrew Israelites arguing with Christians, so forth and so on. He's naming all these different religions. And then he says, and now you have the conscious community arguing with the conscious community. Is it fickle now, like every other religion, right? Is it hopeless, like every other religion? And when I heard this, I'm thinking, when you have a Muslim argue with a Muslim, or a Christian, so forth and so on, they are arguing literature, clear discrepancies in their thought, in their morality, right? In what they believe is their word of God. This is a problem. as they should be standing in alignment as they follow a perfect being, quote unquote, right? But when you're dealing with a conscious community, you're talking about two individuals having personal discrepancies or personal problems with each other. And now you're using that to say there's a problem with the conscious community. We have to grow away from that. These two individuals having a disagreement. Now they're titans in the, if you want to call it a conscious community, but they're titans in the community, period. They have both done amazing things, right? When it comes to their body of work, so to speak. But should their actions, whether be deemed, whether Dr. Umar's situation pans out whatever way tomorrow, or whether or not you feel that Tariq Nasheed should have responded to him in the way he did or whatever, what does that really say for the conscious community? See, I would say nothing. I would say that's just a disagreement between two individuals. I'm trying to get us to understand that though. So I'm gonna pause for a moment in case you're wondering, check out some of these comments. Tata, I'd like for you to speak more to that if you don't mind. Just kind of where you're going with that. Absolutely, divide and conquer. Yeah, anytime you label something, you put it in a box. I hear you, Dirty. But my whole thing is like trying to get us out of the out of this zone or this slump where we attach ourselves to ideas. We did this stuff as Christians. If you came from Christianity, you came from being a Jehovah's Witness, if you came from practicing Islam, we've already done this. So we've already been around this. And my whole thing is like, I believe that because we've been brought up, raised, if you will, with this form of thought that we're looking for leaders. Like when you're in church, me being in church personally, you have leaders, you have people that you're supposed to be looking up to, people you're supposed to aspire to be like. And then when they fall or they do something that's not Christ-like or whatever, it hurts your feelings. You feel somehow like you lost trust or somehow like you lost faith in this person because they didn't turn out to be who you expected them to be. And you often use it on them too. You will say, you were nothing like I expected. You were nothing like you seemed, as if that's their fault. If you perceive them to be a certain way, that's actually your hang up. You probably shouldn't judge someone for not being who you expected them to be. Maybe you put too much into them. Maybe you vested too much into them. And I don't want to continue to do this. You see, when you watch some Christian man or some preacher or somebody do something that you feel like it's incorrect, you watch the whole church pretty much scramble and try to take sides. But the problem is they're not looking at the simple facts. Some things don't need to be, don't need to have a side chosen over. You see what I'm saying? Like you can actually like both of these guys. You can actually believe in what both of them are doing. You can actually listen to them and say, okay, they both say real stuff or whatever. I've seen people say this, of course. My whole thing is, why even get involved and take a side? You're talking about the messenger. These brothers are needed, no doubt about it. The information that they have provided is needed. But I'm trying to get us to understand that just because someone is intelligent and someone, seems to have great leadership qualities, it doesn't mean you need to be a follower. You need to always be a critical thinker. Listen to what the person's saying that's talking to you and examine what that person is saying. You see? And I think a lot of times we fall back into sleep by feeling like by feeling comfortable. That like you can just listen to what anyone says without, searching behind it or thinking behind it. So much so that you become, connected or associating yourself with this person. You see? Hang on one second. I agree, Riri. I believe that they're both very passionate. I missed what you said, Eden. If you don't mind, if you could put that again. Hey, thank you, Josh.
No problem.
You're right, Eden. And this is what I mean because, we have to be careful about that. And the problem is a lot of us contribute to that. A lot of us are the very ones saying, crap, here we go into conscious community. It's just two individuals. It's literally nothing more. we don't have to take it and make it just, I guess, explode on it like that, or make it more than what it is by expanding it to something like it's a community thing. It's simply just two individuals. Now, whatever happens tomorrow with Dr. Umar, that's between them and him and whoever he has to go through that with. My point is, even regardless of that situation, whatever the outcome is tomorrow, the fact's still the same. It means nothing for the conscious community. It would be that's his thing, you see. And we have to understand that we got to stop using what individual using individual actions to try to make that a group thing.
Levette on Facebook said, that's what I've been saying. The message is the important thing, not so much the messenger.
Absolutely. When, in my church, we used to always say, eat the meat and spit out the bones. Now, what that meant was, a preacher may not say right things all the time. He may miss the mark. He may have misinterpreted something, right? Whatever. But eat the meat and spit out the bones. Take what works, and then whatever you feel like don't work, just don't use it. I know it's a silly way to tell somebody to listen to scripture, but because it's supposed to be right. But in real life, that's actually a pretty good code to live by, right? Eat the meat and spit out the bones. Don't attach yourself to what a person is saying. This is why people get you offended, because you associate yourself with stuff. Let's see. LaDon, I agree. LaDon says that Umar should have never said he was a doctor. If that's of course allegedly, based on if he is not. If he isn't, of course he should not have said that. We don't know. I wouldn't presume to know, of course. But I can say this: outside of it all, I can look at the actual. Let me just do this first. Josh, I gave you something earlier. It says "I love you" at the top.
Context.
I sent it to you in Messenger.
I know. It's just, that don't sound right.
Well, they'll see it on the thing. They'll know what I meant.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Dang,
context.
What you guys are witnessing right now is just classic Josh applying ownership to this, and somehow feeling like I needed to apply context. See?
Context, sir. You took that verse out of context.
I love him. See?
You took the verse out of context, Kevin.
Not
Stop.
the one where I say I love you with all my heart, nothing come between us. The other one that said I love you at the top, Josh.
Gotcha. Context. All right. You want me to put it on the screen?
Yes, please. Right, reread. Whatever's applicable to your needs, whatever makes sense to you. Okay.
There it goes.
So I'm gonna talk about this word, this phrase, 3-word phrase, I love you. Many of us aspire to hear this word, especially from a companion, right? From someone who's supposed to love us in a romantic way. We want to hear these 3 words, I love you. But I want to talk about these 3 words because they're always looked at in a beautiful light. You never hear anything bad about these 3 words, I love you. In fact, they're uttered often. I'm gonna go into a few reasons why this word might be said. So, I love you. I have here, it's a phrase used by those in a lover's union, right? Okay.
Okay.
What you say?
Oh, I was saying I was gonna put it over there just so it's not like too in your face.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger for you to see, so you have to squint at the screen.
Okay. Or just make my actual viewing screen bigger. That's fine.
Yeah.
That right there. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, so I have here a phrase, I love you. A phrase used by those in a lover's union, of course. The phrase I love you can be used as an affirmation of family bonds, right? A family member may tell another family member, hey, I love you. And it's no way sexual, right? They don't want to marry you. It's such as the first lover's union. The second one is a sexual partner's role play. You can actually be in an intimate setting. You're not even in a relationship with that person. And these words could be uttered just because you're feeling good. And both of you can have that clear understanding that you don't mean it. It is only a word to make you feel good. So a sexual partner's role play. An emotional blackmailer's weapon. this word can be used as, right? Or this phrase can be used as a domestic abuser's justification. One could abuse you and say that they do it because they love you, right? A celebrity's message to their fans, right? I love you all, right? This can be said over and over. A stalker's confession to his stalkee, or a songwriter's lyrics, right? So I just have here a couple of different ways that this phrase "I love you" can be used. All right. So again, a sexual partner's role play, an emotional blackmailer's weapon. Now, if anybody's ever told you, if you love me, you would do this. If you love me, you would do that. That's emotional blackmail. Okay. Like the Bible used. If you love me, you would do this, right? Demanding actions based on you loving them. This is not something that a person who, I would say, the word love, this phrase "I love you," again, we see all the ways that this word can be used. The problem is, how do we know the actual reasons or the motives behind this phrase of the person using them?
Let me know when you're done with the photo, by the way.
Okay, sure. So my question is, when you hear this word "I love you," it seems to sound good. We seem to want to hear this word. But again, now we understand that these words can be used for many different reasons. The person may not love you. They may be saying it for a reason, right? Now, how do we get to intent? Because "I love you" is simply a phrase. It's simply a phrase that you were taught, and maybe like a robot, this phrase is used to turn you on or activate you, I like to say. When you hear the words "I love you," we simply start to do or say things that we don't even really mean, or I guess we don't seem to make the right decision. Somebody tell you they love you, you may not walk away from them as fast, even though you know you don't need to be around them or whatever. And so we know that these words are kind of used on each other, or used on you. They don't always mean what we want them to mean. I typed some notes here. Let me find them real quick. I have here, let's be honest, what is behind the declaration of love is not always love. I have here, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and we shouldn't let a little sugar coating trick us into buying an inferior product. I'm gonna say that again. Josh, you can delete that. I said, the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and we should not let a little sugar coating trick us into buying an inferior product. Okay? The proof is in the pudding. What do I mean by that? It means that actions speak louder than words. You're gonna have many people tell you in your life they love you. All that matters, literally, all that matters is how they treat you. How do they make you feel, right? If someone's telling you they love you and their actions do not line up with that, that person does not love you. Love is nothing. It's ambiguous. It's not a real thing. Love is a word used to describe how you feel, right? Greek, they got a couple of different forms of love. They got phileo love, which is like Philadelphia, brotherly love, right? So they have a couple of different loves. When you deal with what they call agape love, that's said to be a love between a man and a boy. Look, here we go. Somebody already beat me to the punch. Just here for the knowledge. So you can see I'm not making this stuff up. So they actually as horrible as that is, though, just for your knowledge, is they actually describe different forms of love, right? So it was not misunderstood. The problem is when we say love, we don't get to say what we mean, right? So my point is this: when you hear someone say those three words, "I love you," that is not relevant. What is relevant is how they treat you. What is relevant is their actions. But how do we fall into this sleep accepting things like this, accepting words as truth, right? Because again, if love is not a thing, you cannot touch it. It is not tangible. It is simply a word. It's kind of like the word God. We use this word God and we often associate it with love, but outside of our mouths, neither of these words have any power. Outside of paper, neither one of these words have any power. If you never say the word love, if you never wrote the word love would be non-existent, such as the word God. Why do you think these two go hand in hand? I asked a question earlier today, and of course we're on the topic of the conscious community and how not to continue to put our faith and trust in men, in the vessel, and not the message. But I want to get to why this is also a problem and why it leads to this. So I asked a question earlier on my Facebook page, and I didn't get any Christians that answered, but I asked, if you can feel the love of Jesus or the love of God, what exactly does it feel like? What exactly does it feel like? I've asked somebody this before, and what they told me was this: I know that God is real because when I think about him, I can feel the love. Okay, but I can think about my daughter and feel love. Like, you can't know that God is real because when you think about it, you feel love. You're suggesting that when you think about Jesus, he somehow puts some love onto you, right? To somehow love you back. This is why you feel love. When in fact, I can think about my daughter, I can think about my sons, I can think about any person that I do care about, and I can feel these same emotions. I can think about a cartoon character, a superhero, if you will, and feel powerful. Feel, and my imagination gets stirred up. Right? Me and Josh laugh about it all the time. I like One Punch Man. I literally watched the cartoon. I've seen it several times, and I still watch the crap. Very, very good to me, or
It
whatever. I
is.
can think about One Punch Man, and actually, my mood will go up. I actually enjoy the show, but One Punch Man is not doing anything for me. He doesn't exist. You see what I'm saying? But if I were to associate the fact that I feel feelings when I think about it, that would make it exist. Thank you, Shirley. So why do we grab onto this kind of stuff? Same love when someone give you $100. Goosebumps, absolutely. So again, what you're feeling is you're feeling a dopamine. Someone had said earlier, you're feeling chemicals go off in your brain whenever you see or hear something that makes you feel a certain way. Now this happens a lot when you hear a person speak. The same way as it can happen in church, and they use God and trigger words like love and Jesus to make you feel connected with the preacher and the message. You know, somebody out there is going through some, the same way they use to make you connect. You have to understand that even when you're listening to someone who has your best interest in heart, the human brain, it's built like that. It just has the need to grab onto somebody and trust them. This starts off when you're a child. I'll give you something really cool I learned today about geese. Geese, whenever they're born, they will follow whoever it sees first. Okay, so you know, of course, other birds they connect with the mother bird or whatever, but geese, whatever they awake to seeing, they are going to follow it. So a lot of people, they will get in front of these geese and begin to use them. So when they get in front of the geese will hatch, of course, and see them. And what it's called is imprinting. It's when the goose actually sees a person and sees them as their god or as their mother or whatever. And so they'll be out in their sailboats, and you can see these geese flying over and follow them everywhere they go. This is simply because they made themselves be the first thing that this goose was actually able to see, taking it from its mother by simply projecting the image onto it. And that's powerful when you think about it, because in a sense, we kind of do the same thing. We need our mothers, right? We absolutely need them and depend on our parents, the people who are raising us. We give them absolute 100% trust. In fact, this trust doesn't seem to diminish until you get a lot older. You can have a parent who doesn't treat you right. You can have a parent who's not even there for you. And unless your parents put the thought in your head that your parents are not a good parent, we won't even notice, because built inside of you, it's like we have a need for our parents to be good or whatever. So we do this a lot now in the church. We look at a preacher, they say things that make us feel good, so we automatically associate a deeper love or connection with them. I did. We often associate or connect or feel a deeper connection with them. So we got to be careful that it's okay to love the people like us who bring in the information, but it is not okay to make us your leaders, to make us infallible. I'm a heterosexual male. I hope one day that some female doesn't try to talk about me for having sex with her like heterosexual males do. But if they do, I hope that you guys don't run off and leave me, and you know, for doing something that heterosexual males do. I'm very careful in my life and who I mingle with and mix with like that. But at the same time, you know, I just want to put that out there because I know that we have the tendency to do these type of things. We like to find chinks in a person's armor and make it a character flaw, not a situational flaw, not a bad choice, a bad decision. We love to associate a person's character with something they've said or done in the past, and we even hold to it and speak to it. It's like we won't even let you out of it. We'll bring up something that was spoke about you years ago as if it actually has any type of precedence over today. People grow, they evolve, and they change. The fact is, no one likes when someone brings up old stuff, but we seem to not have a problem with when it comes to our leaders. We love to bring up old stuff. You know, I
I
can see
think
it. I'm
pe-
sorry.
people like the rise and the fall. I think those are like the most amazing things to people. People like to see somebody like accelerate, and then they like to see them decline. Like it's like a hill. It's
Maybe
like a
honestly, maybe that's why religion is so possible. Jesus is that figure. He wrote actually about every single biblical character that was used from God had a rise and a fall. Maybe we are addicted to that for that same reason.
it's a story. It's everything. Everything's a part of a story. That's how we like things. It's the
Why?
beginning. He
Why do we
was
want to
this
see
way
somebody fall? You know, that's got to be. We have to ask ourselves that question if that's the case.
because we don't want. A lot of people don't want to see other people like really make it, unless it's like that's my guy. But even if it's like if that's not my real guy, like that's my real friend, I don't. It's interesting. I want to see this, see him go down. This house got foreclosed. Oh, where's he gonna live next? Like, oh, no, she got kicked out of her boyfriend's house. Where's she gonna go? You know, like this. People like seeing tragedy. Like that's why we like negative stuff on the news. It's always like that. People just like seeing tragedy.
And,
But yeah,
and that's
continue.
the
I'm sorry.
thing. No. I love what you said. Thank you, man. I always listen, guys. I always tell Josh he needs to say more. Says something. It's always great. You know, he
You
likes to
just
get back in the cut.
because you have the better speaking
That ain't
voice.
got nothing to do with nothing.
My voice is moist, according to the audience. So
Stupid, man.
go ahead.
The dude said, "Go ahead."
My voice is too moist for that.
Oh wow. Do we have to be careful and get out of the way for a second? Now actions due to what we claim to represent. Absolutely. I mean, and you're right, Deidre. I mean, when you say you represent something, you should be careful of your actions. But you know, the thing about this is actually the, you know, how do we respond when we see someone necessarily, you know, drop the ball or do something that we feel is not trustworthy? How should we respond? I think that responding outwardly, like the way we just saw here recently, is literally ridiculous. It's spinning your wheels. It's not going to do anything. You know, I don't mind them having a disagreement. I mean, the bottom line is most people would go around each other's backs and kind of backstab each other. At least know how they feel. At least they know how they feel. That's between them. My whole point is this: I'd never sit here and tell you what's right and what's wrong about how somebody reacted, because the fact of the matter is, what do we mean by right and wrong? Obviously, there's no hell for us to put each other in, and that's just a choice. It's just a frame of thought, right and wrong. I'm starting to realize something, man. Like, I love you. That's powerful. That's a powerful three phrase word. But this word I love, I like this three phrase word. It's called I don't know. That's a word to me I think is like absolutely powerful. It's probably the most powerful phrase you can utter. I just want to see how many people are willing to type those three words in one after another. Let's just see. Type in I don't know. I'm gonna wait a minute. I just want to see if everybody can do it. Got the backbone. If you're brave enough, if you're bold enough to simply just type in I don't know. So I'm gonna wait a little minute for those to come up. While you're doing that, I'll tell you a story. There was these two boys, um, always fussing and fighting, brothers, always fussing and fighting, and the parents could not stop them. The kids would not listen. Send some I don't know is great. The children would not listen. So what they do is they take these children to the priest. They go to the priest first and tell them what's going on. Children are acting. They always fight, and I can't get them to stop. So the priest figures, okay, I'm gonna handle it, but I'm gonna call them in one at a time because you know, and because the parent told them together they strong. You separate them, you can talk to them, right? So basically, the priest called one of the boys in the room, and he asked the youngest boy first. I want to catch the weak one. So the priest walks around the room real slow, just trying to build some type of drama, right? The little boy is watching the priest pace the room, eyes looking like ping pong balls, just watching him pace the room. The priest does this for about 25, 30 seconds, so much so the boy starts to build anxiety, anticipation. What is this man going to say? In a deep voice, boisterous voice, the priest looked at the little boy and says, "Where is God?" The little boy looked stunned. He had no idea what to say. Where is God? Like, what kind of question is that? Right? I thought you knew. He thinking, he looking at the priest. What you mean? The priest is looking at the boy. He's like, "Where is God?" He asked him again. Little boy starts looking under the table. At this point, the priest is sure that the little boy just doesn't get it. So he gets in real close to the little boy, right? And he taps him on the chest. Where is God, right? He's thinking that if he taps him on the chest, maybe the boy will understand that God is inside and it'll start to make sense and he'll change his behavior, right? But no, he gets close to this boy and he starts saying, "Where is God?" The little boy jumps up and runs out of the room. He runs to his brother. His brother says, "Man, what's going on, bro?" He said, "Man, listen, they done lost God and they think we hit him," right? So my point of that story is these priests thought they could convey a message to this child by using this ambiguous word God and telling this child that God existed somewhere inside of him, thinking that would make him change. This boy, from his paradigm, he didn't care anything about that. He felt like he was being antagonized. He felt like he was being interrogated. He had no clue at all that this priest was literally trying to help him. Now, the reason I say that is this: because of your mind and the way it's set up, the way your mind is set up, the way it thinks, your current paradigm. When someone offers information to you, it's going to sound ludicrous because you haven't listened to it. You haven't been there. This is why I say this three-phrase word or three-word phrase is needed. I just don't know. Just say I don't know. Sometimes that's the easiest thing to say. I believe that when you act like you're sure about something, your growth is limited. Okay? Your evolution is limited. When you say I don't know, it is boundless. When you admit I do not know, you have everything to learn. When you admit I know it for sure, you have nothing to learn. I think we need to separate ourselves, and because there's a huge gap between what we know and what we don't know, but we still walk around acting like we know. You know that we can't even explain an atom. We know how to use them. We know how to make them explode, but we still don't know how to explain an atom. We still don't know how they work. You know, you can. Okay, for instance, I'm gonna give you an example. We live our lives. We breathe in and out. We think nothing of it because we're taught that, of course, when you inhale oxygen. You exhale carbon dioxide, and trees, and of course the photoplankton in the ocean, which provides most of the oxygen for the earth, they actually are the opposite, right? They inhale carbon dioxide, exhale oxygen. We walk around and we breathe and we give thanks to God or Jesus for being able to breathe, for having breath in our bodies, when literally half of our breathing apparatus is outside of us. If we didn't have these plants doing the opposite of us, we would literally suffocate, wouldn't we? Yet we give the credit to a man who supposedly died over 2,000 years ago. But why do we do that? Lack of knowledge. Because we're ignorant to so much, we accept so much. And then we get upset because someone wants to challenge it. This is my problem. We love to attach identity to stuff. That's what I mean. Again, conscious of community. Why is there identity attached to that? Why do I have to identify myself as conscious? And you'll see it all the time. People will say, "Man, I'm tired of saying I'm conscious. I'm tired of saying that." You know, because we start to see other people who identify as conscious doing things that we personally wouldn't do or feel that we wouldn't do. But again, when we do these things, we are in a sense attaching ourselves to the identity of what we're subscribing to. When you say, "I don't even want to associate with being conscious no more because of how this person's acting or that," you are attaching your identity to it. You're not conscious. You are a human being. And that's not even a word. That's not even a real thing. That's something that we use to describe something, right? So you're not conscious. That's your best way of describing your current paradigm. But you got to be evolving constantly. Don't get stuck on that conscious stuff.
I mean, well, you are conscious, like,
yeah, of course, in the sense of the word conscious, being awake, being aware.
Yeah, I'm just letting people know. Yeah.
Right. So conscious community, again. Now, like Josh said, you are conscious, meaning aware in the realm of reality,
in the science,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
In a scientific term.
Absolutely. But that's what I mean. Why can't we be conscious in that term, right? We always hear this term: when you go to sleep, you count sheep, right? Isn't it funny how sheep are associated with sleep? You go to sleep, you count sheep, and the sheep are asleep, right? How come we can't just be conscious, be awake, notice your surroundings at all times, don't ever fall asleep? So, and again, if you can say, "Hey, I admit it, I put a lot of faith in that man. That man doing this hurt me. That man doing this set me back and make me feel like I don't even want to be a part of this no more." You'd have to admit that you have done just that. You have put too much in the messenger. We have to learn to move forward, always be moving forward, always be evolving, and take what you hear And if it doesn't work, don't use it. If it works, use it. And again, not to be out here fighting. If we all were to write down on a piece of paper, what is it that we want in this world? If we write down the word peace, we have to keep that goal in mind. Here's the problem. We as a community of people who are trying to move forward from religion and move forward into economics, right? Stability and things like that. We have to remember the goal. What is the goal? Is the goal unity? If that is the goal, we must never separate from that. If you think about like iRobot, Sonny was given the skill power to be able to overpower or override rules, but the other robots weren't. They could not kill a human, right? They could not hurt a human, or disobey a human. Let's try to make that like a hardwired rule that unity is key, right? Whatever conversation we have, let unity be the goal in mind. If we have a disagreement, let it end with us still being unified. It's silly that we always have to take one argument or one disagreement between a person or a few people even and say that it's now separated. It's not separated, it's a disagreement. It can be that if you mentally set it up that way. Nothing's changed since the Dr. Umar event. Nothing's changed since the Tariq Nasheed event. Every one of us, I believe, still want to move forward. I believe so. If you no longer want to move forward, please let us know. Right here on the feed, the Dr. Umar and Tariq Nasheed situation has caused me to have a bad taste for progression. I'd like for you to please just say that. Let me know that, because if you haven't, I don't see why we're saying that we're divided. I think that we may have some people may choose who they like to agree with more so than the other, but that don't have anything to do with anything. The goal in mind is that we move forward and keep trying to correct what has been misappropriated for so long. We have been taught religion for so long. I guess I take that on as my personal duty. We have other people who teach other things. From what I have saw, everyone has continued on. We seem to be doing just fine. I just want you guys to understand that they're not a bunch of holes in the boat. The conscious community, if we want to call it that, is not going down. Okay, it's not sinking.
Have we identified what a conscious person is, like according to like the regular, I guess, term, like I guess for the community basis and not a scientific basis? Like what is a conscious person? Is a conscious person someone who like researches, or is it someone who's just not religious, or is that the trend? I don't understand it. I don't think it's ever been like outlined what a conscious person is. Someone who rejects Christianity, because I've heard of
I'll say
conscious Christians,
sure. Well, and
which is
again,
weird, really weird.
Okay, so
It's
people,
weird.
we know that people like to adopt terms, okay? But if you were to ask me, what does conscious mean to me, I would simply say aware of the world, not denying anything. You could be white and be conscious if you admit that slavery was horrible, right? That white supremacy does exist, right? And also be willing to help overturn the corrupt governments that enforce white supremacy. Okay, so you can be conscious as, if you want to say a conscious Christian, I guess you would say someone who still prays, of course, to fictitious characters, but does things out in the opening. Conscious is a mental thing. It's about challenging what you've been taught. It's about recognizing when something is not historical and actually being able to take the responsibility to do that research on your own. Understanding that wherever you go in life is based on how much you put into you. How much you I think that's honestly, if I could define consciousness and have it my way, it would be a group of people who understand that they got to do what they got to do. Pretty much that simple. You got to do it, because I feel like we have I think in a lot of sense we're mentally lazy. I mean, we love an intelligent speaker, man, because we don't want to do anything. But it doesn't matter how genuine someone sounds. We have to understand that sometimes if someone's genuine, it just means that they believe what they're saying. It doesn't mean that it's fact either. So
I
sometimes we
think
have to look behind them, not for sake of challenging them, but for sake of knowing that you're right. Who want to go around another false loop for another 10, 15, even some crazy crap, right?
a lot of people, surprisingly. I mean, nah, really, they say I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything that goes against it. So, I mean, to your question, there are people that just want to stay with what they got and roll the dice. But more power to them. I think from what I've seen from conscious Christians, it's like they're like anti police brutality and like slavery was bad, but it's like Christianity is still the ish. Like, or I don't. That's what it seems to be. It's like, or we do have those people that are like, um, the ones that research more, and it's like Horus has nothing to do with Jesus. Those kind of conscious Christians that appear, those they pop up here and there.
Right. Well,
But I don't think.
somebody put their Kevin's definition the same as everyone else's. So that's why I say don't attach your identity to titles, because if you do, I may actually get upset about someone else's definition of conscious. See what I'm saying? I would never do that. If someone said consciousness is a bunch of people being stupid, like, okay, well, that's your opinion. You're more than welcome to it. Because honestly, it wouldn't do anything for me or to me at all. My mind doesn't work like that. Whereas comments. I mean, I just saw Kevin Collins a couple times. And I don't know why y'all doing that.
That was a great video. That was a fun video.
All right, somebody's telling me my volume's low. I set up something, guys. Let me know how it sounds.
People say you're too loud. People say you're too loud. I'm ignoring y'all. Y'all can turn the volume up and down on your devices. I'm not doing nothing.
Dang, Josh is just. Look at there. Is Josh acting like he part of the conscious community?
Seriously, y'all got volume controls, man, on your devices. Just go with that.
Joey B said, "Conscious for me is a person that questions what they do." Yeah, Joey B says, conscious for me is a person who questions everything they've been taught. I wouldn't argue with that at all. I mean, I certainly do. I sit back and ask myself, again, I was talking about earlier about oxygen. Breathing is oxygen. Of course, that's another word that we're using to describe something that we still don't understand. And that's my whole point. It's like we think we know it all, and the problem is we don't, and we don't know it all. When you say things like we breathe in oxygen and carbon dioxide, you seem to sound so sure, but there are many other languages to describe this whatever it is that we're breathing in, right, or inhaling. These are just words we use. There's no such thing. Oxygen is something that we call it. Do we really know what it is, though? That's my whole thing. You can sit here and stare at a glass of water until you're blue in the face, and you can drink water all day long and realize that it's vitalizing to your body. It's essential to your body. You need it. Absolutely 100%. It quenches your thirst. But exactly what is it? It's not H2O. That's what you've been told to call it. I'm asking you, what is water? And just as much as you can't answer that question, you can't answer that question to who are you? When you talk about not using words or not using spells, as you call it, so my whole point of this is to say we don't know, we don't know. So there's no need in trying to attach identity to anything at all. We came from a belief where people have told us we know, and then we got so heartbroken realizing that they had no clue what they were talking about. You see, they had absolutely no clue. Telling us that how the world was created, telling us how what God wants for us and all this stuff, and we sitting here believing them, and they using our beliefs to manipulate us. They don't know that, and again, they look sincere. We know many of them when they're telling you, "Thus said the Lord," they believe that crap, right? And that's why most of us, when we're in religion, it's so hard to wake up because it's so many seemingly genuine people teaching. You see what I'm saying? That's the whole key. They seem genuine. So how do you not believe them? Your mama told you that Jesus was real. Listen, man, you got to start understanding that the messenger is not important. Listen to what the person is saying and look it up. If you find that I have said something to you that wasn't correct, look it up and come back and show me. You see? Don't come back and show me and say, Kevin, you're a liar. Maybe when I said that, I believed it at that time. We're all growing and learning. The last thing we need to be doing is attaching our identity to certain things and thoughts, and because once they change, here you're left feeling empty again. You've now given yourself this false sense of confidence because you've now attached yourself to something, and now that you lose it, all of a sudden you're feeling empty again. Yes, I am, Deidre. That's the real Merkaba is the man, the beast. So again, I talked to Josh about, when I walked away from religion, and this is just to the point about being conscious. When I walked away from religion, I posted a picture saying that after I'd lost my job, it said that sometimes the worst things that happen to you can turn out to be some of the best things that happen to you. I was telling him, I was like, when I said that, it actually made me feel better. But in all actuality, nothing I was going to say on that post was going to change the outcome of what happened from me losing my job that day. See, the only thing that was going to affect that outcome at all was my actions, period. So, me saying that, bad things sometimes can turn into good things was really irrelevant. Now, at that time, my mind needed something to grab onto. At that state in my life, I needed words to make me feel better. I needed that kind of stuff, no doubt about it. But I'm not like that anymore. You see, I've grown. When I look back at that post, I was like, dang, kind of had a bad taste in my mouth. What do I mean by putting that? I mean, none of that is relevant to a real outcome, And again, you see this in church. I know why my mind was set up like that because I've been exposed to it for several years. We used to say stuff like, if God closed one door, he'll open another one, right? And we even walk away from that and not use the word God. We'll just say, where there's one door closed, another one opens. But what door? No door closed. You lost your job. No door is about to open. So what are you saying? Because when we say this, somehow we feel that it gives us the courage to go further a little bit. But why? Nothing happened. Someone just said, hey, man, don't worry. When another door closed, another one will open. Or pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Keep your head up, right? We use this type of stuff to say it to each other to build. And that's, to me, that's just as religious and pseudo because it doesn't help that person. So telling me to keep my head up is just like praying for me. Like, what's the point, right? I mean, really, what is holding my head up gonna do? We know you mean something different by it. And again, that's encouraging. I get that. But again, what does that, why is that encouraging? Why is someone telling you to keep your head up encouraging? Because you have been taught to be encouraged when you hear keep your head up. Thank you, Joey B. I appreciate that. If somebody told you keep your feet up, it wouldn't help you at all. Keep your hand up. You wouldn't care about that. Keep your head up has been taught to you. So therefore, that's why you feel something when you hear it. It's nothing to the word at all. It's just that spell works on you because you've heard it over and over. What does keep your head up even mean? How do you keep your head down? Does it mean hold your head up high? Your head is always going to be up. I mean, I don't understand. This can mean several different things if you within context. But the point of, and when you're using it to encourage someone, we know that it means be encouraged. We know that it means stay focused, right? Keep your eye on the ball. You dropped the ball. We know what these things mean, but they're not real. You see what I'm saying? And we shouldn't attach like I guess emotions and stuff to them. Again, like the words I love you. The words I love you. We do feel good when we hear this word, but we should be more focused on the action, not a word, right? We always say that actions speak louder than words. I'm about that action. Right? We hear that all the time. And that's often said by people who really not about that action. Vincent Anthony said that's the truth. And I think that it's difficult for a lot of us to understand that it's nothing personal. They say, man, you're trying to take stuff from people. You're not saying anything encouraging. I actually believe that that encouragement is something that is needed, but that's something that you do from within, not something that comes from someone, saying it from the outside of you. And I think that as long as we stick to that type of mindset, we're always going to be looking to people to give us something. And I think that's a problem. I think we have to understand and learn how to be self-sustaining, not necessarily dependent on the words of another man. We got to, for lack of a better word, we have to grow up. We don't want some mother bird bringing us back worms anymore. We want to actually go out and get it for ourselves and be proud that we went and got it by ourselves and have that certainty that we know what we know because we looked it up ourselves. Not on the edge wondering. Yes, Santos Banaki, yes. Someone said meditation done correctly is so powerful. Again, meditation, just thinking in your mind. This right here is really healthy, guys. If you don't understand, man, what you're seeing right now is everybody pointing fingers. And that's the opposite of what a conscious, community should be doing. So if you're going to call yourself a conscious community, I'd ask that we all continue to remind ourselves that we are a conscious community, and that's not a pointing out thing. Conscious is always about looking in. You always have to understand that it's always something that you do that kind of shows you who you are. So when you see the actions of somebody else, or you read anything, you hear a song, these things show you. Often, here's the problem. We start thinking things are things, and we're us, and you're you, and they are they. That's the problem. Here's what I mean by that. You hear a song that you don't like. You say it's a bad song. It sucks even, right? It's horrible. So much so that you'll look at the artist and say, you suck. You are a horrible artist. In reality, though, it's in your mind. That song is not necessarily a bad song. It's a song. How you perceive it is the difference. So now, if Josh likes a song and I do, how ridiculous would it be to argue with him about that? It'd be ridiculous, right? I can't argue with Josh about liking a song or not. That'd be silly. You believe this is a good song? I don't believe it is. It doesn't have the right beat to me. Okay, cool. Moving on, because we would understand that that's just the difference in how we see things, how we view things. However, friends can do this, loved ones can do this, all the way down to you start talking about the person that you care about or the God you believe in. That's when you absolutely have to agree with me, or we'll have problems. And that's what I'm saying. We pick and choose. Music is not important unless you've attached yourself to that person or that song. That's my favorite song. That's the best song in the world. And somebody tell you it's whack, and all of a sudden you hurt, right? Or somebody buys you some food and brings it to you, and they tell you it's nasty, and you mad like you cooked it. You just bought it and picked it up. What you mad for? You didn't cook it, right? We often do this. We have to figure out a way to not do this. Stop taking it personal, as they say, right? It has nothing to do with a person's emotions, their ideas, and their thoughts. It has everything to do with them and how they perceive you, not necessarily you. If I looked at a color and I thought that color was pinkish, and Josh thought that color was a different color, the color didn't change. It's just our perception. So that's why I say the safest way to go about this is just saying, hey, I don't know. Too many, like I said, we think we do know. So when you hear someone like Dr. Umar, a situation with Dr. Umar, then you hear Tariq Nasheed's response, and you see everyone responding the way they're responding. We think we know what's going on. And so you automatically jump to what? There's a weakness in the whole community. It's feeble now. It's frail. But how did you get all the way to that conclusion? How'd you jump all the way there? Thank you very much, Candy. You just saw two people disagreeing. Myself and Josh, we laughed about it. We was like, man, just look at all the comments, man. People are actually saying that the whole community now is in shambles or fickle now. Like, no, it's not. It's not. We're still on our mission. We're still pushing forward. And I'm sure you guys are too. So I feel like we should just draw the line here and say, when it comes to the drama, let's not give it the attention that we've been giving it. The thing that bothers me, and I told Josh, is that it's not that these guys, responded to one another. It was that these videos are in the end going to have more views than their other videos. And their other videos are what can change your life. Their other videos are what's going to help you move forward in your life, not these. You see, and that's what's crazy. Why? And it's not even their fault. They can't be blamed for how much we actually are looking at this and gravitating to it. We have to deal with ourselves and say and we have to learn how to do inner engineering, learn how to go inside and think for yourself. Why do we give this stuff so much attention? We blame the media all the time for lying to us and giving us, phony stories and trying to scare us and put fear tactics in us by using these crazy stories, but they do it for a reason. It's because we gravitate to that kind of stuff. A few months ago, a lady had put up a Facebook post saying that the government was going to put out an EMP and shut down the whole United States for like a long time, right? Thank you, Nathaniel. I did see that. Thank you very much, brother. But the government was supposed to shut down, the United States energy supply and all for like a while, and it was going like viral. Everybody was talking about it, like, oh my God, the government's going to do an EMP. It's going to shut down everything. And in the heart of that, I put a post up and said, I need you all to just critically think for a moment. We know this government is built on that paper, right? That money. Why would the government you lose all that meat, right? Lose all that profit of and stuff like that. Over a test of an EMP. This is literally either a scare tactic used to make you buy products, thinking that they'll somehow keep you safe, um, or it's a clear lie, right? Or it's a diversion, get you to focus on that while something else is going on. My whole point was, okay, Josh, thank you. My whole point was literally, why are we just taking this information and running with it? Have we critically thought about it? And here's what's funny: when I say this, people actually responded to me and said that, "What do you know?" Right? I actually called the airlines, went online or scheduled a plane and all this, and I'm like, the airports are still working and everything, and they are. I'm sorry, I read somebody's comment. I thought it was gonna. Somebody could remind me of what I was saying over the comment. Adija said you attract what you're responding to. Manifestation, absolutely. You attract what you speak. They
You were
say when you,
booking flights.
yeah,
You
absolutely.
were
Okay,
booking.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, I was booking flights and all, and you could actually book the flights during the time of this supposed to be going off, and it had already been announced by NASA, so to speak, whatever. And when I came and said, "Look, guys, you can actually book flights," they were like, "What do you know? You don't know nothing." Literally mad at me. Again, hearing this information, they had already responded in haste, in anger, or in fear, and immediately they already associated their identity to it. Now, if this don't happen, you're mad at me, or if I don't agree with it, you're mad at me. I'm a conspiracy theorist for not believing in this post that someone just put up, and it's just how quickly someone can get upset about something. Why should there have been any emotions attached to that particular video? An EMP is going to start. Why are you angry at me for not believing that? That is weird. That's really weird to be mad at somebody for not believing something that you believe in. But again, we do this over and over religion. In the same way, me believing in a different God than you or praying to a different person than you wouldn't affect you in any way. However, you feel some obligation to step in and change me, right? Or somehow lead me to your God. My situation is not the same, however, it's justifiably so in my mind. I have a justification for what I do. However, you choose a justification for what you do. Problem is, we write each other's off because we have a disagreement.
I had somebody unfriend me because I don't subscribe to flat Earth theories.
See, and that's crazy.
Just on that alone, it's not, I
That's
didn't do it.
crazy. Thank you
It's
very
just
much,
like
Ronnie.
you don't like flat Earth, like
That's wild.
no.
And that's why I say, like, okay, so people always say, man, what you believe? You believe in God? Do you believe in this? Do you believe in that? Believe, believe, believe. Thank you very much, Jeffrey. Again, like we talked about the word breathe or the word oxygen. Believe is just another word. It's a word used to describe something that you don't know. You have a lack of knowledge, therefore you believe. That's the simple facts. So you say, do you believe? You have a choice. Okay, where do you believe we came from? You can deal with belief if you want. I don't deal with beliefs. You can choose to believe or you can choose to explore. I think I've made the choice to explore. I am not going to come out here and tell you how we got here or anything like that, because I'm going to be frank and make that and say that bold statement that I said earlier. I don't know. And as difficult as it is for many of us to say it, why it is to say that three word phrase to that topic and to that question, I don't know. That should be the easiest thing to say, I don't know to. You don't know how you got here. You don't know, period. Christians think they know because they have literature that gives them how they got here. Muslims, the same. If you have religious literature or literature that you hold to, even if it's scientific literature, it tells you how you got here. You may actually feel like you know it, even though all you've ever done is just read it. You see? And that's my problem. We don't know how we got here. My question is, how relevant is that to moving forward to the actual thing that we just said? What if we wrote this down on paper? Unity is the goal. What is where we're from, where we came from originally, the origins of our existence? How relevant is that to actually unity and actually stability and economics? How relevant is that? And that's why I say, when a person asks you that question, it's loaded. They want you to say, you don't know, so they can tell you, well, the Bible says it knows, And that means that they are now justified in believing in the Bible because it gives them an answer to this question. When yeah, it gives you an answer, but it doesn't mean that's the answer. And that's the thing that a lot of people can't grasp. I get it tells you where you came from, but why does that make you feel comfortable that you were, molded and then breathed into by God and then given authority and then told to do all these things? Why does that make you feel better than just simply not knowing? I don't think we're comfortable with it. I think it's very difficult for us just to admit that we don't know. We're very uncomfortable with not knowing. This is why the dark scares us, probably. We don't know. We're scared of death because we don't know. And
Ignorance.
we need answers because we don't know. We simply don't know, And it's crazy because, none of us can remember the day before we were born, or being in our mother's womb. None of us can remember years before we were born. I don't remember when my daddy was a baby, nor have I ever cared to. I didn't feel any pain from it. I didn't feel any worries from it. When my father hit his toe on something, I don't remember feeling it if I did, or anything like that for that matter. However, I'm here now. I can accept that and accept that I have this life here, and I can move forward and explore, or I can sit here and ask questions and make myself uncomfortable and stressed out over answers that I'm probably highly likely not going to get the answers to. I don't choose to do that. You see what I'm saying? To me, that's part of consciousness. Do you need the answer? How? Because I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna give everybody a test. Okay, here's the test. Josh, are you listening? I want you to try this test too, bro.
All right.
Josh and the rest of you guys, for the next 10 seconds, I want you to try not to think about monkeys. I'll wait. You out there and monkey has not crossed your mind one time during 10 seconds, please just put a one up or something. Do something for me. Did
Didn't
not think
cross my
about
mind.
monkey at all, huh?
It didn't cross my mind.
Man, you ain't think about
I'm
monkey.
dead. Wait, wait, how you gonna do a test? Even review my answer, teacher? What kind of pop quiz is this? Damn. Can you review my answer, teacher?
I mean, I
Shit.
can't challenge your answer for certain. I definitely can't challenge it.
No,
Man,
this is the trick.
if you say you didn't think about monkey,
No, this is the trick.
then you didn't think about monkey then.
Keeping your mind occupied.
Somebody said my computer was muted. I lost. See, all right. So my point is this: Josh has already disproven my theory. However, but what we notice here is most people, though, if you tell them not to think about something, they're not going to be able to help it. So the whole point is when you give somebody like things like like say the Bible, when it gives you certain rules to abide by, don't even think about sex. Don't even think about this. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a Christian, when that thought hits your mind, that's when you think about it. And all of a sudden you start trying to curse it or cast it down in the name of Jesus. And you just know Satan put it there, right? You just know the Joker did. And now since he did, like you have a hard time getting your mind off of it. And my whole point is like, a religion that would demand that much from you, to try to control your thoughts is just ridiculous. And again, we do this to each other. You have a God that try to control your thoughts, and we actually say, how can God actually put us in hell for not believing in him? Y'all put us in hell for not believing in him. You see what I'm saying? Like your family members will put you in hell for not believing in him. So it's funny how we can criticize this figurative God or allegorical God in the Bible for having these crazy thoughts in his mind to try to control. Like that's so arrogant, right? That is so controlling, right? To try to dictate what a person can think, but we do it to each other. Ain't that crazy? We do it to each other. Someone tells you they don't believe something. Josh got deleted for not believing in flat earth. How do you get deleted for not believing in flat earth? The man still got to walk on the planet just like everybody else. That man's life ain't going to be no different from yours off of the sheer idea of is the earth round or flat or egg-shaped or whatever we're doing now. That stuff is irrelevant to the actual character of a person. You delete me or you block me because you simply don't like to hear or like to be challenged. And that's a problem within yourself. And that's what I mean. We have to always be looking in the mirror, questioning, why are we this way? Why is it that you offend me? If you offend me, then I have to figure out why. If you're not doing something to me, you're not saying my name, you're not poking at me personally. I have to figure out, why do I have a personal problem with you? If I do have these emotions tied to you, I have to be willing to ask myself why. That is a you problem. I promise you. And most of us don't want to deal with that. I just don't like him. You just admitted you have a problem. He just don't. I just feel uncomfortable. You just admitted you have a problem. You understand? You can tie it to whatever you like, but the simple fact is, how do you know what's different between intuition and you just simply being prejudiced? You see, and it don't have to be prejudice towards a race or a gender. It can be prejudice simply towards how a person looks. You may think they're not attractive, so you may treat them a certain way. You may think they are attractive, so you treat them a certain way. These things are literally ridiculous. That's what I'm trying to say, or literally ridiculous. We need to understand that none of this stuff is really relevant. I heard someone say that, when you look at an ant, as small as it is, you realize that whatever created that ant put as much detail, right, into that ant as it did an elephant, right? But our mind is taught to believe whatever is smaller is less important. Whatever is smaller is less significant. This type of idea has to go. Whenever we get to a point where we can realize that everything that has life, if it ain't hurting you, maybe we shouldn't be out here trying to harm it, especially when it comes to no need to. No need to. Somebody said ants are strong. Absolutely. If you had a machine that could do what an ant would do, you would understand how amazing an ant is. You would absolutely. I used to watch an ant and be like, man, if a human being could do what an ant could do, he would most definitely be a superhero. Like no doubt about it. Straight up superhero. So Deidre said everything is within. It absolutely is. Nothing is literally outside of you in terms of an understanding. Everything that you know is inside of your head. Now you have, in saying that, you have to understand you're facing a horrible dilemma. Okay, everything that you know is inside of your head. Now, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna let religare brain? I like to call it religare brain. Religion comes from a Latin word called religare, which means bind or tie up. Okay, so I call it religare brain because any type of concept that you hold to that holds you back mentally is religion. So racism is religion. I've said this before. Prejudice is religion. Colorism is religion. If you're using it in a way to attach a character to a person based on how dark or light their skin color is, if you identify as black, which would be weird. I hope nobody's doing that. Black is a word, right? There's no need to identify yourself with anything. Again, I'm having a hard time even saying I'm human, right? I'm trying to understand that. And here's the thing. If you say, well, man, you can say you're not human or whatever, it still ain't gonna make no difference. You still gotta live in this world like everybody else. You would be exactly right. Remember, I started this show off with saying that if you heal your mind, you heal yourself. The fact is, it's not what it is, it's how you see it. That's my whole point. Nothing really changes. It's how you see it. When you're a Christian, you believe that in your trauma, in your state where nothing good is happening for you, that God is going to bring you out of it. What does that do? It helps you cope with it, correct? It helps you get through your situation, believing somehow that God is going to reward you or somehow going to see you through it. This gives you the courage to go through it. I can be in that same situation and I can say I refuse to fail simply because I am not a quitter. No matter what, it's still going to give me the same energy to go through it. It doesn't change our situations. And a lot of people always ask me, what are you gonna, when you take religion away from somebody, what do you give them? Honestly, it's simply that. They don't need another religion. You don't need another book. You need to learn how to think and take responsibility for yourself. Someone said, live in the now or live in the moment. See here, God will bring you out. Absolutely, tell you that He'll fix it. He's not finished with you. He is faithful to finish what He started. These are things that people say to you, literature-wise, to make you feel good. God will never leave you nor forsake you. He didn't bring you this far just to leave you. Now, am I making this stuff up? Won't He do it? There you go. These are things that people say. These are encouragements for you to continue going through the mess you're going through, right? Faithful. Hang on. What does it say? Blessed are the feet of those who carry the gospel. So if you out here preaching or whatever, then there's going to be a blessing for you. There's always some type of something for you that gives you some type of ambition or hope or false hope, if you will, to chase after. Religion is a drug. Absolutely. Religion is something from outside of you that causes a chemical reaction inside of you. Absolutely. That would be a drug. Hear Jesus' name, all of a sudden dopamine set up, and you think that Jesus has power because you hear the name, you feel love, not understanding that you have been hypnotized into associating Jesus by simply hearing Jesus is love over and over. God is love, Jesus is love, all this kind of stuff. Jesus is love. You hear it over and over and over, so much so when you hear the name love, you begin to feel what you associate with as love. Is it with these feelings, this dopamine, this good feeling in your chest. And all of a sudden, whenever you get told that this person doesn't exist, you're angry now. You haven't even looked at what I've said. You're already angry. Why do you think that is? And we do this oftentimes with all kind of information, even if you classify yourself as conscious. The problem is you have to learn to when you hear information, hear the information, research it, and don't make it a part of your being. Don't make it a part of something that you need for strength. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't blame anyone for using anything to make yourself feel better. Somebody asked me, what if I just want to look at Jesus and the principles of Jesus or the narrative of Jesus and be inspired by his story? I said, well, you're more than welcome to. Just don't put him over Buddha, right? And be inspired by and someone else being inspired by his story, or Krishna, or someone else being inspired by their story. Thank you very much, Shondell. Good to be back, brother. Gwen said, I call religion a mental virus. Absolutely. Like a cyber attack. It really is. I try to say, man, it's all in your mind. If we really understood how powerful our mind was, I want you to think about something. I saw this survey about cell phones, right? It said that 98% of people only use 7% of their smartphone. 7%. That is crazy. Now, what?
It's about accurate.
That's crazy. 7%. Now, this iPhone is as much as in it, called an iPhone. It has about as much information as it, or it can contain about as much information as about 4% of the human brain. 4% of the human brain can encapsulate the iPhone. And we look at this like it's an amazing tool, right? If 4% of your brain can encapsulate this iPhone, and we only use 7% of this iPhone, how much of your brain do you think you're using? Think about that just for a moment. Pending these statistics of the percentage of the brain. If that's the case, that's enormous. Because here's what I'm saying. If you attach yourself to being black, you might try to be the best black person you can, the most pro-black person you can. You attach yourself to being a man, you might be the strongest man, to try to be the strongest, most manliest man you might want to be, right? Same thing with a football player, whatever you attach your identity to, you're going to try to exceed and be that, right? But what is that helping? What is you being the best black person ever going to do? What is you being the best conscious person ever going to do? What if I told you that if we're only using a small amount of our brain, that means that the human potential is absolutely extraordinary. Absolutely. We haven't seen anything yet. What if we all took the time to focus inside and see what exactly are we capable of? Can we maximize this potential and really create a better world? Because if we keep thinking the answer is somewhere outside of us, we still got it twisted. Nothing ever created itself outside of us in terms of technology anyway. So again, to believe that we need something to cause change would be ridiculous, because everything that has came through our creation has started off in here, right? Everything you say starts off in there, right? Everything that happens starts off in here. For us, in our reality, the reality that we project first starts in here, and how we see our reality, it ends here. So the problem is here, right? Someone said the forbidden fruit is knowledge. Absolutely. I really believe if we stop attaching ourselves to certain names and races and colors and things like that, we can actually unlock this potential we can actually evolve and start seeing ourselves as not black, white, Hispanic, and male and female, and Republican and Democrat and American, Mexican, African. None of that stuff. We need to see ourselves as simply being. See, it's two way. I guess it's a couple of different ways. So again, I don't want to say something that somebody else offers something different. So I'm just going to say it's a few different ways to see yourself. You can see yourself, of course, as the person, right? But if you do that, you might often associate yourself with being rich or poor based on what you have on your body and what you can afford. And again, these are all figments of this matrix we live in. These are not real things. There's no such thing as a worth that's attached to money. We call it net worth. This is all part of the matrix, guys. I'm talking about reality, right? How do we create a better world? Net
I
worth
don't
and
think
things like that in that nature. And what?
I don't think your brain is capable of not categorizing things though, or people. I don't think that's possible. I mean, as much as I would like to, I don't think that's really possible without like I'm gonna notice your tendencies. I'm gonna say he's reliable, unreliable, he's cool, he's hot
No,
headed,
that's
he's
absolutely
this.
different. That's learned qualities. What I'm talking
But
about is associating a person by how they look, you see what I'm saying? So if you can learn to accept
okay,
someone
by the
based
look.
on no,
Okay.
so based on how someone treats you, that is the perfect way to understand. That's really the only way. Like think about it. You ask somebody, okay, what is it like to be loved by God? Man, they can't answer that question, bro. They cannot answer that question. They can tell you all day it feels good. It feels like something in your heart. It's hard to explain. Some people will tell you it feel like having a deadbeat daddy, right? But you can say all day. But you can if I ask you what does your mother's love feel like, Josh, you ain't gonna have no problem telling me. You can remember the times where she directly encouraged you. You can remember the times where she wasn't as good. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no problem with you explaining this. When you talk about God and ambiguous God, when you say how do you know or how do you feel this love from God or what does it feel like, people are simply gonna make it up. I learned it early in Sunday school class, dude. A lady wrote on the board, God's love is like. And I watch all these children my age go around and say what God was like, his love was like. Only to ask these jokers after class, and they don't know. Nobody in there know what God's love was like, especially you that young. And you in there trying to answer that question. God's love is like sweet rays of sunshine. Like you don't know what you're talking about. How can you say what God's love is like? You don't even know if the joker exists. That's my whole thing, sir. That's my whole thing. You don't even know if the person exists in terms of that. You haven't read any literature on them at this point. What I'm saying? Sure. Sure. But like one says, we have to validate ourselves. I believe so. Maybe validation is not something that we need. What's the point of it? What's the point of someone validating us? Maybe we should look for tangible validation, like actually accomplishing something. That's all I'm saying. On this. Over the top. And again, I understand that perspective as well. Thank you, young elder. Chandel, what if that's part of the illusion? What if, although these things are facts, if we were to find out that us holding to the past more so than actually moving forward to create a better future was not good or it was counterproductive for us, would you then be willing to say, you know what, I can take a relook at that because how I'm looking at history literally doesn't change history, right? And it doesn't change the future. However, if I can take history and look at it for what it is and look at it as a factual thing and not attach my emotions to it, what is that going to hurt if I disconnect myself from that? Because it's really protecting yourself. Again, if you associate yourself with being a certain thing, any person that seems to fall into that group is going to also make you associate yourself with it. Now, this is why you have what? A LGBT community. Of course, you're going to have people who have the same mindset that's going to get together and protect each other. But one of the things is if a person in the LGBT community does something crazy, you're not going to say the whole community is bad because of the actions of another, right? Or if something happens to a person in the or so to speak the other way around. My bad. I'm sorry. I'm losing my train of thought. So you guys can understand. I did take some Dayquil. It is slowing me down just a bit. But however, I'm not going to keep the show going that long tonight. We're going to try to get this down to about to less hours per show. So, and I also want to say right now, while I'm on the topic, remember the tour. Okay, Be the Evolution tour. The first engagement is going. That's Irving, Texas. That's February the 9th and 10th. Right. So make sure that y'all come out and we do it big, guys.
At the Avocado Lounge.
At the Avocado Lounge. But no, Shonda, what you said, see. Again, there you go. I feel like I would lose a certain part of my identity if you do that, man. I mean, and again, what you're saying right now is powerful, and I love the honesty. But I want you to ask yourself, just when you sit into yourself, think about it. Why do you feel that way? Just honestly, why do you feel that you would lose your identity? What is your identity? Why do you feel that you can lose a part of your identity? How? Just think that through. Because again, we say this all the time. We can't really I guess come away from certain thoughts because we feel that we're losing something if we do. You see, so and then that's a logical statement. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the honesty. Say what?
The thing is, I mean, for us in this country, we don't really have like a heritage or like a culture, like where we come from. Like we don't know where we're specifically from. A lot of people can say, I'm Irish, I'm Scottish, I'm Italian, I'm this, that. Like I'm from the continent of Africa, somewhere like somewhere over there. Somewhere my people was over there somewhere, but we don't know. And then obviously, um, there's people who say we're from here or North America.
Absolutely.
So it's like I don't really know my origin. I don't know my roots truly. So it's like I'm gonna just say I'm African and just go from that, and I should be proud of that. Uh,
But
Where
again,
like are you
but
unique?
again, what is Africa? Africa is a geographical spot on a map. It's a name of a land, honestly named after a conqueror, right? So we do know that America is the same way.
Yep.
So you're dealing with these type of things. Black is a color. Nobody's gonna look at you and call you black if you're black. Balaka and where it comes from and things like that. That's totally different. But again, that's even a descriptive word. I see people asking where am I coming. I will be coming to New York, absolutely. I'm not sure about Virginia, but I want you guys to please comment and send me messages, guys, because wherever the most comments and stuff come from, that's where I'm gonna go. Okay,
No.
I want to go where there's
Uh,
going to be attendance. So I just want to make that known. Well, Josh.
we can do something more organized than that. That's soppy.
Well,
We'll do
obviously
like
on
a
the
poll or
comments and stuff,
something.
on the comments, keep lighting it up.
We'll do like a poll or something.
That'd be
Like
cool.
if we need to. Yeah. Just
And
look
if
out
you
for a poll. Yeah.
and if you guys are in Texas, please share the tour. Let people know that I am coming. So some great prices, great group prices, and things like that. I'm trying to do it so everybody can get offering free stuff. I'm offering information and I'm answering questions that people have been asking for forever. So it's going to be a great time. So make sure you show up. Do not miss it. I'm actually putting a whole lot into it. I want it to be powerful. Make sure you don't miss it. Cuba line, absolutely. Yeah, Africanus, the conqueror who conquered Africa, which is why we're called African. Why people now saying I'm an African, taking pride in the name of a conqueror, not even realizing it. And here's the thing: again, no, we don't know what it was called before a Cuba line. Is that even important? This is what I'm saying, guys. We attach ourselves so much. I hear you, Shonda. That's what's up. We attach ourselves so much to these things because we really feel like we need to. And like Shondell said, pulling away makes me feel like I lose some sense of identity. It wouldn't be fair to say that you wouldn't feel that way. You absolutely will because you have attached your identity to. So you are losing some sense of what you attached yourself to, but not your identity. The problem is your identity was misplaced. You should never place your identity in your color, in your gender. And I'm gonna tell you why. If you want to get technical, your skin is an organ. An organ. Again, it's just a word. An organ is just a word. But what is an organ? An organ, you have skin, you have a brain, you have a heart, you have lungs. These all make up organs. You've never seen a person be judged based on the size of their actual heart, right? Or lungs or anything for that nature. So why is it the skin is a basis for judging a person's character. Think about it. That's why I mean, that's when I say think about what we're attaching ourselves to. It's an organ. Should you attach your identity to an organ? I understand it's on the outside of you, and that's what you see when you look in a mirror. But does that mean you have to attach yourself to it? Largest organ you have, and I don't disagree with that. But is it built like that? Do we just attach ourselves to our largest organ? No, we wouldn't, and we'd never judge somebody by an organ at all, by a kidney, by a brain, nothing like that. There's no way to. You can't see them, right? But again, we say things like you have a big heart, and we say it with confidence. He has a big heart. Doesn't mean anything, right? No more does that mean like saying someone has a big heart and them having a big heart actually speaking to the size of their actual heart is like saying that about a black person and their character. It literally means nothing. And this is why I say the easiest way, you're not going to stop being black. You're not going to stop someone else from seeing you and identifying you as that. You're not going to stop people from being racial towards you. But my point is this. If you understand that you are not black, you are not African, you are not Indian, you are not Native American, right? You're none of that. These are things that we're attaching ourselves to try to find some type of identity, right? If you can understand that you're not actually these things, when these things are spoken of in a negative light, you won't feel offended. You will have the strength and the power, the wherewithal to not let words bother you. This is my point, moving forward and not letting these things bother you. What matters is what you do. That's my whole point. What if I say what you say matters in the sense of metaphysics, like materialize? What you say matters. What you say is going to be in this reality. That's the only way what you say matters. But what you say is not relevant. That's what I mean. Thank you very much, LeSean. What you say matters because you create what you say. If you say, something bad about a person, you're going to probably start seeing that. You hear something bad about a person, you're going to probably start seeing that. Somebody say they stuck up. You ain't even get a chance to meet them yet. Every time you see them, you're going to think they stuck up. Buying in to what you have heard because someone already given you an image, and you're going to see Christians use it all the time, and it works. I can say something that's factual, that's logical, and all a Christian has to do is say, you're a false prophet, and instantly, you have now activated. I told Josh yesterday, I like to call it like a sleeper spy. Whenever they get activated with certain code words, that's one. You're a false prophet because this word has been heard over and over your whole life. False prophet. So when you hear it, it's like, who, where? And I seem to embody or encapsulate everything that seems to be a false prophet. I'm saying Jesus didn't exist, right? All these things. And they say, this has got to be what it is. And they use this word without refuting my evidence or refuting what I said. Okay, false prophet. Based on what? Not based on me actually not saying truth or me not actually giving real history. I'm a false prophet based on me not agreeing with what the Bible says. That is their logic. And that's what I mean. We have to learn to grow past that and say, there's more to know. If we keep identifying ourselves with things, we limit ourselves. If that makes any sense. Riri, I hear you. So we need to find an identity. Maybe we need to find purpose, not necessarily identity. Again, if we wrote down on a piece of paper what we wanted and we wrote down unity, do you need identity to have unity? Do I need a personal identity? Because I think that actions speak louder than words. Remember, it doesn't matter if the Chinese are called Chinese, if white people are called white or Caucasian. They still stand where they stand right now on the economic scale and the social scale, frankly. It doesn't matter what we call them. What is matters is what they have done to ensure where they are, good or bad. And I think we care more about what we're calling ourselves and what we're attaching ourselves to than the work it takes to make something happen. We all want a better future for our children. Me calling myself Black, African, or anything like that is not actually going to help them in any way. Now, again, to say that we shouldn't attach ourselves to an identity is not saying that you are not that. I'm not saying that you're not black. I mean, I get that you are, right? We live in a world where you ain't gonna escape that. So you can say you ain't black all you want. You black, right? You can say that you're not African American all you want, but you are that to a person who sees you as that. You a nigga, frankly, to whoever sees you as that. You're not gonna change their mind. My point is you shouldn't care that you're a nigga to them. You shouldn't care that you're black to someone else. You see what I'm saying? You shouldn't care that you're seen as African American or ignorant or to someone else based on their mindset. I think we should care more about what's going on in the world and work to fix it, not so much of what people think. That's my point.
Okay, Coach, all super late. We've been live for an hour 40. I want to keep it under 2.
Thank
So
you, Ricky Swink. Definitely back.
let's wrap it up because
Okay,
I'm gonna show people the promotion flyer.
great.
Yeah.
And again, guys, like I said, one of the most powerful phrases to me, simply, I don't know. You know, when my podcast, I want it to be about having an open discussion and simply having conversation. You know, we may come back to this topic, a week from now, a year from now, and I may say, you know what, man, you're right. We need to attach ourselves to an identity. But at this point, I simply do not see it. I see that what is important right now is what we do, not what we say, and not who we call ourselves. I mean.
It said there's somebody in the Facebook. It says if you got melanin in you, you are black. You should care. That's bullshit, man. You talking nonsense.
Why should
See?
I care? If I have melanin, I got melanin.
But these
That's
like things, these terms are so made up. like
right.
like
Again, again, it's like you don't want to attach who your higher self. Like that's what I'm saying. Do we believe? Well, my thing is okay. You have all these people who attach themselves to religion, and they say, I'm not this person. I'm this spirit person. But they walk around all the time acting like they this person. They defend this person, right? Nothing about this spirit person. They don't seem to act like that. Look in the mirror, call themselves ugly, feel insecure, because we somehow feel like this is the person who we are. This is who we are. And that's completely fair. You've never saw a soul. You never saw a spirit. If you want to believe that's who you are, that is simply fine. What I am saying is you can simply change your mind. You can heal yourself by changing your mind. Hello, Felix. Thank you very much. So yeah, you can heal yourself by changing your mind. I choose not to look at myself as my body. I choose to say that my body is me is ridiculous. This is my hand. This is not me. My feet are down here. These are not me. So this is my body. Why do I say that? My body. Who does it belong to? Me. So my body is not me. I choose now soul, spirit, brain, intellect, consciousness, whatever you like to refer to your higher self as. Simple facts is I'm my brain. I don't refer to myself as this. This helps me actually. It helps me to not attach myself with the feelings that's often associated with name calling and crap like that and seeing people for who they truly are. Is to remove myself from this crap. If I'm going to ask people not to judge each other based on this, I have to figure out a way not to look at myself based on this. That's the first step. And that's the problem. It's like if you're going to judge someone else based on how they look, then you probably judge yourself based on how you look. Again, we use the word reflection, and it's not to imply that when I look in your face, I see my face. Again, it's pseudo language, but it's to understand that you're projecting your own brain out onto me. That's what you're doing. You see, so again, it said, melanin is worth $400 a gram, and that is a fact. That is an absolute fact. However, melanin doesn't speak to the character of a person. You see, this is what I mean by attaching yourself to it. Again, we said skin is just an organ. It's just an organ. It's not something that you need to attach yourself to. And we got people who identify or who have the same genetics as you do, as many genetics as you do in being of African descent, if you want to use that word, and black, if you want to use that word, and their skin color in no way, shape, or form speaks to that. But their DNA is still black, right? It's still of African descent. But they look just like regular white people or whatever, or skin even lighter than that. So we know that skin doesn't speak to your identity at all. If we were talking to an albino right now and he was saying, man, I just don't feel black, because I'm albino. You're gonna say, no, you black, right? You're gonna say, no, your mama black, your daddy black, you black. You're gonna tell him to take pride. But what is he taking pride in? He doesn't have the melanin in his skin. His skin is not brown like ours. So where is he gonna get his pride from? The knowledge that his parents were black, so therefore he's black. When he looks in the mirror, he sees white. He sees albino. So somehow he's gonna have to try to do the very opposite of what you're saying you can't do. You can't pull away from your skin and remove your identity, but yet you're asking him to. You don't see how crazy that sounds? You're asking an albino to see himself as black when he's not, according to how he looks. But you need to see yourself as black according to how you look. We don't need that. We think we do because we haven't challenged it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you any less black or African American. I'm just saying the need to be these things or the importance to classify yourself as these things are not relevant when it comes to actually fixing what's the problems that's in the black community, or if you want to call it that again. I'm using that word just to, I guess, pinpoint what I'm talking about. But in that community of individuals who identify themselves as black today, identifying ourselves as black is not going to fix black problems. You see what I'm saying? We need to figure out that, yeah, you're right. Albinos are still black, though. They have to. And I don't disagree. My point is when they look in the mirror, they don't see that. And we're asking them to personally not identify with what they see in the mirror. Their brain is always going to be in their body. They can never put it in their mother's and father's body. So no matter what, they are going to see themselves as what they see in the mirror, unless somehow they can remove themselves from placing identity in what they see in the mirror. And that's all I'm asking you guys to do. Lorenzo said, personal value should come from accurate thinking of your actions and character. Absolutely. That's where your personal value should come from.
You're saying not my melanin, my skin?
No, your mindset, your pride. If you're going to take pride in yourself and add, that's if you want to place personal value in yourself for your personality. If you even want to do that, that's not even a personal need for that. However, I understand it. I recognize myself as just part of somebody who willing to help, somebody who wants to be a part of the machine that fixes what we're going through. I don't see myself as a chosen one. I don't see myself as someone who is special. I see myself as simply someone who cares enough to take the responsibility to do the research and do the necessary things that it would take to actually create change in the very community that I want to see change in. That's simply how I see myself. If I apply myself, maybe I can make a difference and help all the other people doing it. But I don't have a need any longer to make myself feel like I was called or special in any way. You know, I think that these type of thoughts is why we're easily manipulated. That's what I'm saying. If you have this need to feel called, somebody may tell you that you're called. You special. It's just something about you. It's just that just can't, and it's gonna make you feel a certain way. You know, but understand this. It's just something about you. I just can't. Just because something does not explain, so someone can't explain something, doesn't equate to supernatural or even special for that matter. It simply means they just cannot explain it. That's all it means. It's just a hiccup in the brain. I'm not saying that everything that is to be explained can be explained. I don't think that we can explain everything. You know, I honestly don't. I think that for us to think that we know anything is pretty much arrogant because we're really just trying our best. Like I said, you can look at a cup of water and know that it quenches your thirst, but you still don't know what it is. So I think the safest thing to do is just to admit you simply don't know. Lorenzo says that the value of the person is based on melanin, then again, a dark-skinned person has more value than smarter than me, and more spiritual than me. That is ignorance. That's perfect. Dang, thank you, Lorenzo. Now, if you want to say a person with more melanin means that they're worth more on the dollar for their melanin, that's something totally different. But we're talking about, that's the last show we had. We talked about the black of the berry, the sweet. I like my men like I like my, you know, light-skinned men are feminine, pretty, and all this kind of stuff. We talked about some of the character traits that's associated with a skin tone, the amount of melanin in you, and how ridiculous it was. And that's what I'm saying. If we stop it all together, you won't get the latter part. If you stop associating yourself with your identity altogether, or if you stop associating your identity to a color or a race altogether, we wouldn't even get as far as the blacker the berry, the sweeter, all that crap. You see, and I think that we have to, I guess, take some time and maybe think on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you're right. Maybe we need to find something to identify with. At this point, I don't think that we. Of course, we come to a close, and then it always seems to start messing up at around. I don't know why. So Josh always try to keep an eye on it. Off. I don't know why it does. What Lorenzo was saying is exactly right, and you guys are not wrong. I'm just saying there's a difference in paradigm, and that's what I think. We have any conversation, you need to understand that if you're going to have a disagreement or anything like that, it's simply a different perspective. We're looking through differently. That's all. There's really no reason to get upset over an idea. So I want to say I appreciate everybody. Y'all seem to be keeping it together, even though what I'm saying is obviously challenging a lot of you. I mean, I challenge myself. Believe me. Exactly. Humble. I love that, bro. Okay. Okay. So what Humble Hustler is saying is at one point, hearing I'm black and I'm proud, it actually ignited people to move in a certain area. But and again, we have to think about this. If I'm black and I'm proud, is that the reason they were ignited? Or was it the problems that stem to create that song? Again, this is a mantra. It's a chant. And we use these things all the time. So just like I'm black and I'm proud, I ain't never scared. It's also something that's used to rile people up, and it works the same way. What you're talking about is a mantra. But like he said, again, back then, this was used to help people to move forward. Absolutely. But we've evolved now from then. Maybe now we don't need pep rallies. Maybe now we need intelligent conversations and understanding what exactly do we do to move forward. It is time to stop doing pseudo teachings. They're not doing anything but making people feel better. Absolutely. Yep. The amount of melanin in your skin will not allow your third eye to open up anymore. Like, you're going to have to take responsibility for what you take in your body and all that type of stuff. Again, it's about what you do. That's the point I want to convey to all of you guys here tonight. Life, what you accomplish in your life, where you end up, is about what you. In closing, one of the statements that live in the moment, carpe diem, which means seize the moment. YOLO, you only live once. Live in the moment. These terms are literally ridiculous. However, we say them often. Now, here's the truth. Where else can you live other than in the moment? You can only be in the moment, period. There is no past. There is no future. You can only be right here. That's the only place you've ever been is now. That's literally it. You don't know how to live tomorrow. You don't know how to live in the yesterday. So reminding you to live in the moment, it would be ridiculous, as it is impossible to not live in the now, to not live in the moment, right? I don't exist in the yesterday. I'm right here today, right? But we know this is not why it's said. This is said because we have a hard time focusing on the moment. And this is why they say live in the moment, be in the moment. When you are in this moment, if your mind is not also in this moment, you are wasting this moment. Unless your mind is on something that's going to help your future. Trust me, I'm trying to be as honest as I can with you. Okay? We spend a lot of time on the past, worrying about things that happened that hurt us, or worrying about things that, or just studying history, which is fine. We spend a lot of time on the future, worrying about who we're going to be or what we can become. The truth is this: what matters is what you do. You can want to be somewhere all you want, but what are you doing to get there? We said this year, I'm starting it off this way. How's your year going to end up? That's what I want to hear. Not I'm cutting people off at the beginning of the year. How about my next year? I will be here. And if you understand that you have made a decision to say, okay, for a moment, I'm going to put myself in the future. I'm going to say where I need to be, where I want to be. Now, come back to the present and realize how you get there. And every day, do just that. And watch you end up where you're going to be. But I guarantee you, if you're sitting here just speaking into the future, saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, this whole year, if you're going to call it that, this whole 365-day period that we call a year is going to Come back around, and you're gonna be right where you are, still spinning. You didn't take the time to act. Actions speak louder than words. Remember that. We're done with faith. It's time that we understand we always got to be moving forward. And again, do not put your faith in the man. Listen to the man. Listen to the message. Okay, so don't put so much into the messenger. Focus on the message. Read behind people. Listen behind people. Verify and move forward. Okay, don't let what two people go through or the actions of another cause you to say that we're weak. We're not weak. We're stronger than ever. Let's believe that. Let's move forward and make it happen. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna read what Lorenzo said just before we go off. Absolutely, Lorenzo. I agree. Josh, is there anything you need to say before we get off?
Dates.
Oh,
Boom.
absolutely. Boom. There
On the
you went.
screen. So
Okay. You're right, Joey. I believe that as well.
you ain't gonna even let me promote. You
I'm
just gonna
very
talk.
sorry. I didn't know you was gonna say that.
Okay. Trying to help you out. I was gonna say, we're gonna have exact dates, or I'm sorry, exact locations as these events come up. With the time on Eventbrite. Uh, we're gonna update it. I think it's already on the like page already on Facebook. So you guys know it's the Avocado Lounge, Irving, Texas, February 9th through 10th. I believe it starts at 8 p.m., right? Yeah, I think it starts at 8. And
Urban
again, that's on
Texas, yeah.
Eventbrite,
8
the
to 12.
8 to 12, yeah. So that's gonna be on that's Eventbrite, the URLs down there. I'm also gonna update it in the description box too. And again, it's gonna be on the Facebook page as well. Just thought I'd plug that. Go ahead. Any final thoughts of you, sir?
I, this will be my first tour, so I want you guys to understand that I am nervous. So if you are in the Texas area, for being, make sure you show up. I don't want to get discouraged. My first outing, make sure y'all show up and make it huge, so I can have some confidence moving forward throughout the rest. I'm gonna be doing a lot of traveling, and believe me, I'm gonna need it. So show some love, come out and support. And I promise you, I'm gonna make it. Wow, I have a lot planned for that. I promise you, y'all gonna love it. It's
Well,
two
you
days,
have
2 days in a
traveled.
row, I should say.
You have traveled to speak before, so it's
Well,
not
no,
like
it's
a
a tour.
completely.
First,
Yeah,
personally, normally, guys, it's someone booking me. This is my own tour, so this is a
with your own
first.
audience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. Internet is going crazy. I need to uh beat them up, and I think
And
that's it for tonight.
before you get off, I'm gonna say this real quick. I told Josh this the Sean, like you saying you're gonna be there, and that means so much to me. You don't understand. I think I saw Tiffany Algren said she's gonna be there. You guys
Mhm.
that have looked out for me this past year, supported me even financially, encouraged me with words, had my back this whole time. Man, I promise you, you don't know what it's gonna feel like to see you guys there. Normally, when I go, like I said, I don't get to see, you guys. So I'm so looking forward. Man, you better be there. Don't flake on me. Don't make me feel good to see you out there in the crowd too.
LaShawn gonna drive his truck through the
Sean gonna
building.
pull up in that truck.
LaShawn gonna drive his truck through the building. Where Kevin at?
Hey man. That'll be what's
Already
up.
know.
All right. That being said, I love you guys. And I mean it. And you see it with my actions, hopefully. But I always verify. Don't just take my word for it. And Josh, if you don't have anything else to say, man, we're gonna end it to the next time.
Yep, that's it, Joe. Till next time.
All right.
Oh, we're gonna have a very interesting video tomorrow. The Heaven Challenge. It's gonna be $100 on it. So share it with your Christian friends, your pastors. Oh, it's gonna be great. They can get $100. They can get their video featured on our page, and what was it? $100 video featured on our page, and they'll be invited on the show.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be dope. You'll love it. Love it. All right, that's it, y'all. We out. Peace.
Peace.